Good afternoon, everybody. I hope you had an excellent morning so far and that you learned a lot about design and how to process your site analysis and understand your site and turn that into functional diagrams and into finally into a good functional and aesthetically pleasing landscape design. To help you along that process, I'll quickly talk about a few different methods of how to collect that data so you can use it back in the office to create your designs, and different programs that you can use to help speed things along, create really good presentation materials, construction details that convey your information to your contractors, your subs, or your field staff, and so everything goes together the way you intend it and also the way you and your client envisions. Programs I use primarily for my design work these days is a program called DraftSite, which is similar to AutoCAD, and I also use Sketchup. One of the other designers that I work closely with, I prepare his presentation drawings, master plans that he creates in Dynascape. So Dynascape and SketchUp and DraftSite can work together. There are just few little steps that you have to do. On-site data collection. So different methods that you can use are like the old-fashioned way, with which was like a string line or a laser level and a tape measure, measuring out all the items throughout the site, writing it down on a notepad. Then you'd have to go back to the office and type all that out. Or you can start using the smart zip line like Frank just talked about in his quick presentation. They're very handy. That gives you the 3D elevation point if you're using your phone with it. I've used a zip line, so the previous generation of that particular device without the smartphone. So you're just grabbing the top graphical information going around your site. And what I've added recently to my process to help speed up my data collection on site is a 3D scanner. It's actually the BLK360 by Leica, and that particular machine, I just show up on site, I set up my tripod, I put the thing on top, I press play on my phone, I wait about a minute per scan, minute to 2 minutes per scan, and then I have high definition photographs 360 degrees from that spot. I also have laser accurate telemetry from that SketchUp line of sight to everything it sees. I then take my little tripod, I move it over about 6 meters to 10 meters in that position. I play it again. Sites I'll do upwards of 13, 15 for a backyard. And then I bring that back into the office, load it into the computer. It gives me a nice lovely point field. Then I can actually start modeling off that point field. I don't have to do any measurements. I don't have to take any photographs, because wherever that tripod is, I have highly accurate information, and I can't do anything better than that machine with a tape measure and like a laser level or a zip line. Machine's accurate to, what was it, 1/4 of an inch or 6 millimeters at 10 meters, minute per scan, 2 minutes per scan. So it greatly improves your speed. You can bring that information into SketchUp. You can bring it into other programs like the DraftSite and AutoCAD. You can bring it in using Udont, which is an add-on for those two programs to allow for point field capability. And you can model off that point field. You can just connect the dots and create your site plans. The diameter of the trees, the lean of the trees, the location of the fences, the location of the house, all the detailing of the house. And almost always when you're taking a tape measure, you miswrite down a measurement or two, or you forget an area of measurements. And as long as that tripod sees the area, you have it, and you'd be surprised at what it can see. I have it pick up power lines, fences in the backyard when I'm shooting the front yard, trees across the road. Yeah, it's impressive what that thing does. Then, so once I'm finished dealing with that site information, I kind of divide it up into different things. Then I load it into Sketchup or into DraftSite, depending on what I need as an end result. So if I'm just doing a quick permit drawing and figuring out where the trees are, I might just load it into DraftSite, create a quick 2D plan, and be finished with it. But a lot of the times, if I'm doing a full landscape design, I'm loading it into SketchUp. I'm really starting to work with that 3D information, preparing conceptual grading plans, conceptual landscape designs that actually work in the third dimension, then presenting that to the client, and then you're starting to build detailed construction drawings that I can hand off to a contractor or crew to develop. I'll run through a quick little SketchUp demo.
SketchUp is an amazing program. It has a lot of capability to it. First things first, all your construction tools, depending on how you have SketchUp set up, are either going to be across here or across the top here. Basic ones are like your select, your eraser, your paint bucket, some drawing tools, some modification tools, like move, push, rotate, follow me, scale, measuring, and some dimensioning tools through here. Your basic navigational tools, orbit, follow me or look around, pan tool. This is your walk tool, zoom all, zoom previous, window, and then a lot of these ones up here are called extensions, and the extensions actually allow SketchUp to expand its usability quite a bit. The extensions are only available with SketchUp Pro and SketchUp Studio. So anyways, to get started here, a few tips about modeling. So this right here is my axis. The green line, this red line, green line, and blue line represents the two horizontal axis and the vertical plane axis. And when you're actually drawing when you're parallel to the axis, the line that you're drawing, it will actually change color into the different planes. If you hold down your shift button, it actually locks onto that plane, so you cannot move around. And then also you can mouse over another point in the model, which will allow you to line up things perfectly. So I'll show you that in a bit. So anyways, I want to make a 14. Oh, and the other thing is SketchUp uses real life measurements. So if you draw something in 14 feet or 1.2 meters and actually type that in on the keyboard, it will allow you to draw in the different units. So if you're stronger in imperial or stronger in metric, or like me, who is stronger on silent items in imperial and other items in metric, you can draw whatever you need to do to make it easier for your life. So if you look down into this lower left corner of my screen, you'll notice that there is a length and distance, and it's constantly changing with how I'm drawing. So in there, I'll type in 14 feet, and then I'll type in another 14 feet, and I'll make sure I'm on the color to ensure my patio is nice and square. So there's a 14-foot by 14-foot patio. I'm just going to make that a group. So, and groups are better for one-off objects in your model. If you are going to repeat the model, like say a fence post or stepping stones, that's best to use the components. And I'll touch more on components a little bit later in the presentation. So there's our 14-foot patio. We can actually start moving around and figuring out where we want to place it. that works the best for our model. And over here, I think I'll put in a 1.2, let's go with 1.5 meter, 1.5 meter landing. It's what, roughly 5 feet in imperial. So again, I am going to use my shift button, which locks the line onto the green. Go ahead and just mouse over the building face and click. And that will allow me to make sure that line actually is lined up with that face. Add in another face to seal it off. And I'm going to make this into a group. If I remember correctly, we had 21 inches of difference between the door entrance and the ground plane at this door. So this should be 14 inches to provide a 4-inch step down. Then I'm going to put another step in here. And we're just going to move it back 1 foot. And I'm going to push it out 1 foot here too. Let's move that out 2 feet. And I'm going to move this in 1 foot. Just to provide sort of a little walkway across like that. So I think that looks pretty good. I hope you guys think it's good too. And one of the extensions that I have in SketchUp here is Sandbox Tools, which comes with SketchUp Pro and also SketchUp Studio. So I'm just going to copy these lines out there, paste them over here. And this over here, I'm just going to make this slope up to here, across here, and down here. I'm just quickly showing you that you can actually do basic grading in this conceptual grading in your models too, if you choose to. So we selected that, we've added that little bit of topography there, bang, bring it in. I'll flip on my shadow here so you can kind of see what I'm talking about a little bit better as I get in here. There's a little bit of a slope. Another extension I have is Slope Maker here. Then click on that, and we have a 25% slope there, and a 0% slope there. And what's the slope on the other way? So 23%. Okay, so that ridge is a little there. It's a little bit steep, but I'm okay with it for this demonstration. Very, very fast demonstration. So there's that. Then what I want to do is put a small little patio back here. So I'm just going to draw off the side here. Actually, let's make it a 3 meter long pad by 2 meters. So again, just typing them on the keyboard, 2 by 3 meter to provide perfect measurements so I know exactly how big it is. I'm going to make that a group, and I'm just going to push it down 6 inches. Actually, let's make that a little bit more. You'll just notice a little plus came on beside the tool point there. That means that I'm actually copying that face. So on push and on move, you can actually copy items. So I've just created that 6-inch offset. So it will allow me to make sure I'm snapping in, so it has a 6-inch rise up to give it a little bit more dominance in the space. Then I'm going to line the outside edge here to the outside edge of that side, so it creates a nice little sort of dynamic. Then I'm going to create a 3 foot long by 2 foot stepping stone, and we're going to make that 2 inches tall. I'm going to triple click it to select all the faces. Then I am going to make this a component. Due to the fact that I'm repeating this object a few times over in my model, components actually work a little bit better for that. So then let's move this, and we'll line that up actually with this over here. And then I'm going to move this off 4 inches. Then I'm going to show you guys a little trick here. So I kind of wish when I used to do construction that I was able to do this, because that would have made our lives a lot faster. So anyways, I copy that one stepping stone out. 1 instance. Now I'm going to go times. Let's go with 3 more steps. Actually, I want to do 4 steps there. So copy down times 4, and there's our stepping stones. This is overlapping that, so I'm just going to move that over there. And there is our stepping stones. Now let's just move these things up a hair. So I want to just drop them on model. I have an extension that will allow me to drop any item on a vertical plane onto the plane below it. So, which helps quite a bit when you're doing more difficult topography. So there's our 5 stepping stones into our little patio. Then we'll have a bigger patio here, and then we have 2 steps up there. And then now we want to quickly create a real to life size pergola over the back patio to create a nice little sitting area. So I'm going to start by creating a 6x6 here, 5.5 inches by 5.5 inches, and I'm going to create that as a component. So again, when you're creating an element to be copied throughout the site, components are the best way to go. And I am going to create a column or the post at 8 feet tall off the ground, and then I'm going to copy the bottom another 2 feet to represent the space going into the ground. So it's a 10-foot overall 4x6, and then I'll just set this line so it's at the surface. Then from here, I'm just going to copy that over to here. Again, if I'm not able to see here, but I want this outside edge lined up, I can mouse over here and allow me to line things up really quickly. Unless you have a very fast computer, I highly recommend not running with shadows on, which I'm doing right now. It will bog things down very quickly as your model gets bigger and bigger. So I'm actually going to turn off my shadows and start this little discussion about shadows. So Sketchup can actually geolocate your model to real life space, and based off of the actual position, you can actually do real life shadow studies, as long as your north arrow is properly lined up to the correct spot. I actually learned about SketchUp from my professor in university way back in 2003, because he was doing a landscape design for a project down in London, and he wanted to make sure the shadow actually fell from a corner of a building to a particular spot on the landscape, so you could actually create a sundial in the landscape design. So I've been using it ever since then, and worked on developing my system. So anyways, getting back over to this pergola, here is going to make this component. So there's my 2x8. I'm just going to copy that out. I'm going to actually make that component again. So I have a component within a component, and you can actually have quite a few different levels depending on your complexity, and you can actually make it so your model's a lot simpler. Let me just turn on the rest of the model here, coming into that one component, and now you can see that as I move my mouse back and forth, all the incidences of that particular component are adjusting. So if I'm making a pergola and I want to quickly model it up and see how different things look, I can quickly do it. If another option I can do here is, let's just draw a line here as a reference point. Double click in there, move out to the halfway point here. There, delete the rest of the line. So there's that. And we'll add some detail at the end here. Let's extend this out another 2 feet. And let's for a little slope there. There we go. And then since I have one size modeled as a component, I'm going to make another instant. I'm actually going to mirror it. And this particular mirror function I have is actually an extension. So there we go. Actually, I'm going to make myself a little bit easier here. So I'm going to make this another component. Like that. Delete this. Copy the component over here. There. So then whatever I do over here, let's throw a small hole in. Whatever changes I make to this particular component here, it will actually adjust on all the instances of the component throughout the whole model. So you can actually reduce the amount of work that you're doing, sometimes quarter, eighth, depending on how many of that particular item you have throughout your model. Again, you have to be slightly cognizant of what you're doing, because you can quickly screw things up if you make a change to a certain part of the model and you are not predicting it was going to affect something else in the model. So we're going to create a small little detail on top of those beams. So we're going to just extend this out by, let's go 1 foot on both sides. Make this a group. Or actually, no, this is supposed to be a component. Okay. And we are going to line this up to here. Copy that there. And we're going to divide this by, actually, I'm in the wrong spot, so I'm just going to position this one into the right spot. Then, now what I'm going to do to save myself a bit of time is I got this one over here in the right spot. I'm just going to take this one, copy that over there. I want 10 of those things nice and even on space. I'm going to tell SketchUp that to do my work for me, and bang. Forgot to add in the hot tub our client really wanted, so I'm just going to go at a hydro spot here, let that components load in. So SketchUp also has a 3D library, which I'm just touching on right now. And this 3D warehouse has a lot of elements designed by, or built, I should say, by companies, by different designers, and there is a lot of pre-made stuff in there. Some of it's really good, some of it's not so good. So I'll select this one right here. Sometimes what I'll do, hot tub in there. I'm just going to move it over a little bit more to the right here. Let's go right there. There we go. I think that's good design. I think the client's going to be thrilled by it. All we need to do now is give it a bit of color and a few little plants, right? With that, we have our grass area. We got some planting beds. We got some steps, some patio. We got a little pergola here. We got a hot tub. I think that's pretty good for now. So let's throw some color on it. So now what we'll do is go over to find our paint bucket. So there's our paint bucket. When you activate the paint bucket, the materials tray comes up. In here, you can load in different colors. So let's grab our grass color. And right here, okay. Sometimes you have to flip on the hidden lines to allow you to block off things. We have two faces, that's why this is looking a little bit weird. So sitting on top of each other, I'm going to cheat and just raise our patio up 2 inches. And then I'm just going to extend it down, give it a little bit of size. For paving materials, majority of the major unit paving companies out there already have their pavers online. They're all pretty good, and Permacon is currently in the process of updating their paver swatches for SketchUp, and apparently will be released next month or the month after that. So I'm just going to kind of cheat here and just grab some of the masonry ones from and bring those in. And we're just going to cheat, and so I can give you a quick little display on how this works. And I just grabbed the masonry colors from the 3D warehouse. Then you just click on there. You can give the edge coat here a bit of a color thing. Let's grab this one here. There we go. And also SketchUp does have a few preloaded, as I've already shown you. So I am some components, select. I'm just going to go, oops, wrong area. Stone is right here. I'm going to make my stepping stones this dark granite color and just double click on the one there and color the one component. So if I double click inside of it and color, then it will line up perfectly. You can also throw the Japanese maple over here. Throw in a few of these barrack greens over here. Divide by 3. That's pretty good, I think. Let's bring them across. Back here, divide by 6. So there's that. Let's throw in a few perennial or shrubs now. Let's go with the Munchkin oak leaf hydrangea, and we'll put them intermittent between the other ones there. So tags, I have my shrub set up with a plan layer and also with some other information. So I'm just going to turn on my plan layers right now, and then I can hop into my ortho projection quickly, so I can get right on top of the plan view. And I'll just push this a little bit closer to the fence line. I'm going to drop out one, so that's on red there. We'll divide that by 4. There we go. And we'll put these leaf hydrangeas in between each one. So I'm going to times that by 3. There we go. All nice and evenly spaced. Perfect. And now we'll grab some spireas. I'll toss some 2 spireas here. And what else? Let's throw in some Annabelle hydrangeas on the side here. 10. There we go. And so there's that. So that's the way I design planting plants nowadays. Is I just quickly throw on some plants, look, see how they appear in 3D. If I don't like it, I can quickly reload sections here. With different perennial grass, I can delete them. So one of the recommendations I always do have is learn your keyboard commands and adjust the computer or adjust the program if it's able to allow you to use keyboard commands, because it's much easier much faster to work off of the keyboard commands than it is to try to find the tools throughout the program. Your hands in the keyboard position all the time. You know roughly where all the keys are, especially after working on it a little while. It takes 2 seconds to look down at keyboard and you know where the button is relative to all the other buttons. So whereas if you need to find like a move command, it's like, you know, right here sort of thing, it takes you a few more seconds to find it compared to just using the keyboard command. 95% of the stuff I do, you'll see me on hardly ever using the keyboard. The actual buttons are on the top of the screen. There's our plan view, our wonderful plan view. Then you can make quick, easy different views here. You got sun, shadows. So now with layout, it allows you to provide working drawings relatively quick and easy. They can be scalable, and you can actually do a fair bit with this fine program. So what I'm going to do, here's our parallel projection, which is actually our last saved item. I am going over to the SketchUp model here, and I'm going to hit our plan view, and we are going to set our skill at 1 to 50. And then we'll just rotate this so we can fit it on the page properly. And we'll bring the thing here. Let's see what's 1 to 20 looks like. Again, with layout, you can have both units. So if you're working in metric or if you're working with imperial, you can actually do both skills, and it automatically adjusts it from the SketchUp model. So since this is a really fast demo of what this program is capable of doing, there's actually quite a bit more stuff I would be doing to prepare my drawings in it, and depending on what my end product is that I'm aiming for. So, and this one is just going to be scene 3 here, and we'll just quickly add in a page here. Yeah, pages. Yep, okay. And so we'll just expand this up here, and we'll toss in scene 4. Just that, and layout is also pretty good. A lot like with most other programs, depending on how you set things up, you can make yourself life a lot easier. I can actually quickly drop in details that I've the level where I need to do it, I can do a full layout drawing, or if I'm just doing sort of a presentation of conceptual and they just need a few quick measurements to see how the space works in real life, I might just go in, add a few measurements here and there. And then that way, when they're on site, or if we're on site talking with the client, that we can quickly pull out the measuring tape and be able to provide them with the overall spacing and sizing of the different elements, so they know what they're getting, we know what we're building, and, or I should say, the contractor or the builder knows what they're doing, and everything can be done. Stepping stones. Relatively quick. So there you go. That's a little quick presentation. Actually, I don't like this view.
So I hope you enjoyed the presentation. If you do have any questions for me, please do not hesitate to give me a quick little email. I'll try to answer it. All of your questions. I'm unfortunately only, here's my email address, and I can help you either learn SketchUp or set up your own systems so you can start really using SketchUp and incorporating it into your development. And also, if you're interested in the 3D scanner, I can also help point you in the direction and help reduce your learning curve there. Thanks.